Hi Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your May 1st to the 15th, 2021 reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will be listed and linked in the description box below. Now, before we begin this reading, let us clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Releasing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, centered, and at peace as we enter into this safe and loving space. Let's let the bowls sing as we see what the tarot has to say. Aquarius, May 1st to the 15th, 2021 Aquarius. May 1st to the 15th, 2021 Aquarius. May 1st to the 15th, 2021 Aquarius. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly, angels and spirit guides, angels. Okay. One bonus card. The left-hand side is your inner self. The middle is your heart, the emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. And of course, we have our bonus card over here. So we have the Five of Wands starting off. So there's conflict that comes. Justice, which is also Libra energy, time frame September 23rd to October 22nd. But there is a sense that, of course, things aren't just, but there's a sense of those people who are in power, the sense of the people who have the say over things in our lives at this time. They're not being fair. And this is something that we've had to deal with in the past. It can be that we're having an argument at home, and it just feels like the more I do, the more people take advantage of me, type of thing. And so it's kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back is coming during this time. And we have the fire sign energy here, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, coming forward. And it has to do with creativity and work and what we desire within our lives. And even if we are a stay-at-home parent or caregiver, this does not mean that that is not work, okay? That is super hard and does not get the respect that it deserves. So don't sit there and say, oh, well, that's not me because I'm not. It's like, no, it is. It is. There's a sense of wisdom here, of understanding of the Ouroboros, the serpent eating its own tail coming forward. So this constant state of death, rebirth, and rejuvenation, which is the endless theme of the human life. We're crowned with the High Priestess over our hearts. So we're seeing what others aren't showing. And it's going to be around people who celebrate us or say they celebrate us. And it's like, okay, well, you say you celebrate me or you say you're there for me, but you're not. Like when the going gets tough, you're nowhere to be found. So this is going to be something that comes up. And this is also a wound over our hearts that we're seeing this pattern within our lives. The Seven of Pentacles is patience. Now, we're going to have a tendency as air sign energy to make things more in our heads. We live in our heads. Air sign energies tend to live in their heads more than the other signs do. And so at this time, we're going to be looking at things and be like, well, how do I fix this? How do I overcome this? How do I, move this forward? Where can I be? Things like that start coming, like start knocking at our door. And there's going to be this real sense of, I just can't. I just can't be where I want to be within my life. I just can't get to where I want to. And there's going to be a need to step back, because there's a sense here of being too logical and too emotional at the exact same time. So we're going to need to really look at that. In the public arena, we have the Ten of Cups, and they all live happily ever after, because we learn to choose our battles. We come forward as the Queen of Swords. We're the queen of the situation. There's, again, that transformation, the death, rebirth, regeneration, this time in the form of a butterfly. And then we have strength, which is Leo energy. So a Leo can be causing us real distress within our lives. But there's also the sense of, can I embrace the strength of me? Can I embrace what I want, what I need, and the place that I want to be within my existence, and not let that be bullied by others? It leads us then to the Queen of Cups. If we're born on the cusp with Pisces, this part of our personality is going to be looking over everything. That's why the heart comes into it so tremendously, right? So water sign energy is, of course, Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer. So let's look at our chakra energy for this time. Aquarius, May 1st to the 15th, 2021, Aquarius. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Ooh, okay. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. All right, so that one, of course, just flew across the room. So give me just one moment to retrieve the card that wants to be heard. And you guys get to hear my squeaky floor. Okay, perfect. It is forgiveness, the heart chakra. This is always a big one, forgiveness, because on one hand, there's the sense of, okay, I need to forgive others, which is important, not to carry around the hurt, the pain, the toxicity. But this is also saying I need to forgive myself for thinking that they'd be more, for putting my hopes and my dreams in somebody that wasn't me. In looking at things through wounded eyes for so long. And there's a sense here of, I need to forgive myself, because, within forgiveness, there is understanding, there is acceptance, there is a place where it might not always be peace, and you might not ever get to peace, but there is a sense of, that's it, just like a sigh. It's like I don't have to carry the weight around anymore. I don't have to be this trauma, this hurt for the rest of my life. There's more to me than just the trauma, just the hurt, just the pain. And so the forgiveness of the other person, but you don't even have to forgive the other person. You can say, rot in hell for all I care. You go there, that's fine, but I'm moving forward and I'm forgiving me. And that might sound harsh, but sometimes that's where we are in our lives. And it isn't going to be this nice, sit down, have a cup of tea with me. It's like, no, get the heck away from me. I don't want you here. Go away. And that's part of the forgiveness process. And that might be the part that we stay at, because what they did was too much and it can't be forgiven. And nor should it be for some of us. So the forgiveness comes forward, and it's a sense of, I get to free myself. I don't get to constantly be the trauma, the hurt, the pain that has been with me for so long. That has been a part of my life. Now let's see the people that we need to be mindful of during this time. Who are the people that Aquarius needs to be mindful of? May 1st to the 15th, 2021, Aquarius. Who are the people that Aquarius needs to be mindful of? May 1st to the 15th, 2021, Aquarius. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Fantastic. All right. So here we have Cernunnos. Now, Cernunnos is Capricorn energy. It's the devil card in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. If we're born on the cusp with Capricorn, we need to be mindful of this part of our personality coming out more and more. Not that it's a bad part of our personality, but it's going to be a part right now that really connects with chaos. And it's kind of like, let me see what happens. And that's one of the things that kind of Capricorn fights against its whole entire life. The idea of chaos, the idea that nothing can be fully controlled. And controlled sounds like a bad word, but it's like planned for, understood. There's always going to be variables that come up. And so during this time, there is a sense of, I'm chained to something. I have a consequence that I didn't think of. Things are moving forward in a way that I didn't expect. I didn't see it coming. And what, what Spirit is saying at this time is like, it's part of the nature of things. and there will be an ebb and a flow, just as there is a spring and a fall. There is that season always of change, and we as human beings have to be aware of that. But there is a sense here of addictions, hurts, pains, disappointments, angers, fears, especially wounds from the past coming forward and saying, this is where you live. This is what it is always going to be. And so that's something that we fight against during this time, and we really have to stand up for. Because if we want our happiness, we cannot constantly be battling every single, hurtful thing that steps our way, every single thing that breaks our heart can't always be addressed. And so here with Cernunnos, there is this real sense of looking at and knowing that our hurts, our pains, and our weaknesses will be used against us. And looking at that and saying, okay, you know what, I understand that, but I'm stronger than they imagine. And that's what we see within our inner self. We have this conflict here. Externally, internally, there's a conflict that is affecting us. We might find that we don't sleep very well because of it. We're trying to soothe everybody's problems, make everybody, understand, connect, hear out everyone. This is happening with people that we thought were on our side. Either everybody's staying silent because they're like, I can't risk myself, or they're just not coming to our defense. They could be actively going against us to say, oh, look, I can look good and you'll just go down. And there's this sense of chaos. There's a sense of hurt and pain and disappointment. It didn't start out this way. And so there's also a sense of like, how did it get to be this bad? So here we need to step back. We need to step back from the chaos, step back from the hurt and pain within ourselves, and look at our coping mechanisms. Because our coping mechanisms are the things that let us get through things as easily as humanly possible. So if we're not sleeping at night because we're so worried, are we spending our time watching TV, scrolling through our phones, things like that. There's a sense here of looking at it and adjusting it and saying, okay, I know what I'm doing to avoid what I'm feeling inside, but now I have to look at it because I have to be discerning. I have to be just to me, not to everybody else. It doesn't matter, everybody else. And that sounds rude, but it's not. It's like, if I'm not just to myself, how can I be just to anybody else? And we all know those people who are just to everybody, who try to be so terribly fair that the one person who suffers and continuously suffers is themselves. And this is a time where we're like, no, that's not going to be me. And we can really feel that it has been us for too long. So with the sense of justice, it's a balancing of the scales. It's a cutting through fears. It's knowing that I matter as an individual. And if I matter, I get to have a voice and have a say and be proud of who I am. This justice is the sense of balance within our lives, within ourselves, within what we need, because we're going to be facing heartbreaks and pains and disappointments that we've faced before. The chaos comes in, and we've seen that chaos. We know this story, and it's like, why the heck is it repeating itself? I don't want to be here. I don't want this. And that's going to be our first reaction. Our second reaction, and it's going to bring the nightmares, the worries, the hurts, the pains. Our second reaction is like, okay, patience. I can wait this out. Or I can not even wait this out. I can better myself from this. This adversity, which is what it is, just like this argument. It is an adversity that starts to transform us. The repeat of the number 5 means that it leads us towards freedom. And who doesn't like a bit more freedom within their lives? And there's a sense here of, okay, I faced this. I've had to hear it. I've had to endure it. But I'm winning. When you have the swords laid down around you, in medieval times, when you won a battle or even a competition, you took their sword. You took their sword. You could take everything in some competitions. And so here, there's a sense of, I get to take this. Now, there can be a smirk on our face, like that seems a bit nasty. And we can have a part of ourselves come out within us that we don't always like. That is the braggadocious side, the I won, you lost side. And so here, it's like, okay, step back, see what we need, what we want, and keep on moving forward. But knowing that we are formidable when challenged, and we will win. And there's also a sense here of being really aware of the people we're challenging against, the people who are coming up against us. They're challenging us. We're not so much challenging them, which also makes it a bit more complicated and a bit harder, because a reaction, we can go two ways. One reaction is, that's it, you want to fight? I'll give you a fight. But the other reaction is, I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't need this in my life. I have enough on my plate that I'm dealing with. I don't need this nonsense. But the person comes in thinking that they can push us around. Why? Because they have before. And there's a real sense here of saying, no, I know my mind, I know what I want, I know who I am, I might be worried the heck about this. And that could also make us, a little bit more rash, a little bit more like jumping into the fight and saying, that's it, I'll go for it. But once we decide it, the person is going to be surprised because they're going to expect to be the one who smirks. They're going to expect to be the one who wins. And there's a fiery fierceness to us. Now, I would say also during this time, we find ourselves in a bit of a disagreement with people who are going to be white page, black print. These are the rules. This is exactly how it has to be done. We're going to see things in a more creative way. Aquarius, that's just part of your nature. That's how you see things. And there is a sense also here with fire sign energy. If we have this fire sign energy coming in that wants to control us, that wants to say, this is how the career should be going. This is how we should be going. This is where we need to be. It's going to be like, no, I don't want this. I can't handle this. And with the Ouroboroses here, there's that sense of the serpent, again, eating its own tail, the death, the rebirth, the regeneration, the seeing things differently. There's a real sense here of as we embrace our passion, our power, our fire, our determination, we're not wanting to be held back anymore. We're not wanting to, sit there and pretend. This is a real sense of I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm going in. I'm embracing my bravery. I'm looking at what I desire from life, and it's opening up the doors. And there's a sense here also of our inner selves. There's a conflict around career. It's like, should I do this? Shouldn't I do this? And through being just to ourselves and seeing that we've won more battles than we've lost, which is something we have to remind ourselves about, especially during this time, because we do have a bit of a fatalistic approach to things. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like Chicken Little, the sky is falling. And it's not the sky is falling, an acorn dropped on our head. So here, with the King of Wands, there's this sense of, but I can get there. If I have this power within myself, I can get maybe not to the pinnacle of my dreams, but pretty darn close. And that starts to move us to the high priestess. The veil is being lifted from our eyes. We're not seeing things the same way as everybody else. And that's a part of this time that is uncomfortable, because we as human beings, we like to belong, we like to fit in, we like our groups. We're very much, tribal, clanal people, and that's just who we are. So with the high priestess, there's a sense of the veil being lifted from our eyes, of us seeing things. And we're crowned here with kind of the evolution of religious doctrines. We have the cycles of the moon. We have the pomegranates for Greek mythology. The cycles of the moon can be Sumeric? Is it? Sumerian. There we go. Religions and before, so the very kind of dawn of civilization, very much coming forward. We have Christianity at the heart, we have the Torah, we have the moon, we have the water behind us, and also the fact that her robes pool at the ground like water. There's this sense, and that can be the rising floods of the Nile. So there's this sense here of bringing forward wisdom, and wisdom being so important. Ancient wisdom, personal wisdom, this sense of evolving and understanding. Our hearts are longing for more. But because we're seeing behind the veil, it also makes things rather uncomfortable, because we're going to be seeing, wow, that person's just full of BS. And oh my goodness, that person doesn't care and has never cared. And it's showing us people who were supposed to celebrate us, but couldn't. It's also going to show us people who we might take for granted because they're always there, and we think, oh, okay, well, that doesn't matter. But these people who aren't always there, those are the ones I'm going to try and impress. And now there's going to be this shift. It's like, no, you've stood by me. And even if we don't have people in our lives who've stood by us, we have this sense of loyalty to spirit, of loyalty to our spirit, of loyalty to our souls and ourselves and what we desire and what we need and what we're working towards. And that brings us to this place of patience, but it also brings us to this place of, like, we can call people out. It's like, oh, okay, they're not going to follow through on that, even though they said it. And when they don't follow through, we're not surprised. Oh, okay, this person is being manipulative, and we don't know why they're being manipulative. It's like we just know it, and we'll see it coming. So this is going to be a time where we can really, our heart prepares us. If we listen to our heart, we listen to our soul, we listen to ourselves, we can start to be prepared for the bigger things. And it leads us to the Seven of Pentacles. And the Seven of Pentacles is patience and prosperity. because what we have going for us, it takes time to build. And we're going to want it yesterday, as we as human beings do. And Spirit is saying here, no, 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 no. Watch it build, watch it grow, watch it become. I will tell you when it's ripe. I will tell you when the harvest needs to come in. And yet we're worried that the harvest will never come in. If we start listening to our instinctive self more, which is what the high priestess is, it's that instinctive spiritual aspect. And we have, the roses, the pomegranates, we have that feminine aspect on the blanket and the copying of the colors, on her robes here within this depiction. So there is a sense that as we are crowned by this wisdom, it starts to tear away of the roots of doubt. But the roots of doubt are painful when we leave them. The roots of doubt come back at the most inopportune time to make us think, I can't do it. I can't move forward. There is no joy. There is no hope here. The fact of the matter is, there is hope. There is joy. There is more power here than we know. And so with the 10 of Swords, we're looking at ourselves. We're looking at with the 9 of Swords, we're looking at what we desire. And we're realizing that if I constantly worry, if I lose my sleep to this worry, if I tune out, and instead of sleeping and regenerating my body, I scroll through my phone and do everything I'm not supposed to do, which, I'm so guilty of. This is something that divinity is saying, like, why are you doing it? I'm going to hand you a harvest. When will you be ready for it? So our hearts need to understand this, and our souls need to understand this. We're going to be handed a harvest, but if we're not ready for it, divinity will say, okay, I'm coming to give you this gift. I can see you're not ready for it. I'll take it, I'll save it for later. Until maybe one time the gift just doesn't come anymore. And it leads us to the 10 of Cups. The 10 of Cups is joy and happiness and success and prosperity and bounty and beauty. There is a sense here of love and brilliance. And so the 10 of Cups is this, and they all live happily ever after card. What we're looking at here is, how do I go from the chaos in my working world, in where I have to get everything done and I'm the person who's relied upon, to understanding the deeper spiritual knowledge of things, bringing that spiritual aspect into my life, and having the happiness that I so desire, having the joy that I greatly seek. It leads us to learning when to pick our battles. During this time, it is going to be so important because that seed of justice, that desire for justice, is so impactful and so powerful with us that we think, okay, if I just go after it, if I just go for it, I'll be able to win. I'll be able to succeed. And what we're going to find is that there's more deception than we realized. And it's at every turn. It's deception that we've carried with us. Why couldn't my parent, caregiver, care for me the way that I needed to be? Why wasn't I ever listened to? Why did my lover cheat on me? Things like that. They start to compile. Why didn't I get into the school that I wanted to get into? Or, why couldn't I continue my education? Things like that start to weigh upon our shoulders and break down our spirit. I didn't get that promotion that I wanted. It went to somebody else who is far less deserving. They don't work as hard. And this is a time where we start to focus on what makes us happy. The 10 of Cups. There's a beautiful saying. It's a Nordic saying, I believe. It's better to be king of a cottage than servant in a castle. And it's true. Instead of keeping up with the Joneses or the Kardashians, this is a time where we need to say, what is it that makes me happy? Is it living in the middle of a big city? Or is it living in a quieter space? Is it being able to go out with family and friends? Or is it being at home in quiet? These are things that we learn. These are things that develop so that our grown-up selves mirror the child self within us. And then we learn the battles to fight for, where we stand and what we just let go, because it's not worth our time. And if you're going to say, oh, but they should... You can give people the facts. You can lay things out. You can be honest. You can open your soul. And some people will still combat, still be ready for combat, still be ready to engage in nastiness. It's not worth it. We start to be able to see those people. The high priestess coming in can be very overwhelming. We're seeing what once was veiled. And so as we're seeing what once was veiled, it's like, well, am I doing the right thing? Well, this opinion could be true, and you could look at it this way, and you could look at it that way, and then all of a sudden, we're confused, and we're overwhelmed. But it's like, if we just listen to the high priestess, if we just listen to our hearts during this time, not all the time, because sometimes our hearts can be wrong, But listen to our hearts. Seek out deeper knowledge. Say emotionally, like, does this feel calm to me? Does this feel right? Is it scary? But is it something that I want to overcome? Is it a braveness that I need to embrace? Wim Hof said, we don't do anything brave anymore. Now, some of us might, but a lot of us live very comfortable, sedentary lives. Or even if it's not comfortable, it's rather sedentary. We don't have to go out and hunt our own food. We don't have to worry about, plumbing and basic sanitary needs that would spread disease so quickly in ancient times, or even today that spread disease so quickly. We have a lot of the fears that kept our ancestors on their toes. We have it conquered because it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all. And now is the time when we have this ability to step back and to look at things, to say, what am I creating? What am I bringing forward? Who am I relying on that I shouldn't be relying on? What are the patterns that I've gotten into that hold me back? Because I want this happiness, I want this joy, and I'm choosing my battles wisely. Because we all know those people who fight all the time. Everything becomes a battle. And it's like, oh my goodness, just stop. Because it doesn't mean anything anymore. But the Seven of Wands is like, choose your battles wisely and stand your ground. It brings us then to the Queen of Swords. It brings us to us. The Queen of Swords doesn't take any bull. The Queen of Swords is the warrior queen. So we have that warrior mentality within us. We cut through doubts and fears. We see things more openly, more honestly. We start to transform. We start to evolve. We start to become. And as we do this, we start to become more of who we need to be, more of who we want to be. Just as the king has the Ouroboroses, the queen has the butterflies. The Queen of Swords has the butterflies. So there's a sense of evolution and transformation. Not that we devour our own wisdom as we do within our career, as we do with what we learn. Our 10,000 hours make us a master. What we have here is we have the evolution to be carried of the mind, to be carried on the air, to be carried on the voice, on the words. And it starts to open up our eyes. It starts to open up ourselves. We're not going to be taking other people's bull. During this time, we might actually feel like, wow, I'm so much more combative than I usually am. Like, people are ticking me off and I'm speaking my mind more. Again, choose the battles wisely. But don't think, oh my gosh, that's a bad thing. Because it's not. It's not. It's a human thing. I'm asserting my own power thing. And it moves us then to strength. It moves us to a strength that we didn't know we had. And it's not that brute force strength. It's not that you will listen to me strength, that domineering strength. It is a calmer, gentler strength. It is a strength of giving and taking, knowing that there's also bravery in this woman for coming to the lion. She didn't tame him. She befriended him. And the lion, if he wanted to, could just tear you apart. So here, there is this sense of, I'm becoming more than what I had thought I would be. I'm moving forward in power. It's a strength of understanding, of the give and the take, of the beautiful connection of soul. And it leads us to the Queen of Cups. It leads us to our heart, looking out over all of this. This is why emotionally we have to be connected to this time. If we're apathetic, if we're, just fed up, that has to be addressed, because it's going to start impacting us negatively. And with the Queen of Cups, she's the sweetest queen, the second most powerful only to the Empress, which is what one of my teachers said. And she has this beauty, she has this harmony, she has this peace to her. And there's a sense here of needing to embrace it, needing to embrace this peace, needing to embrace this understanding, needing to open up our doors. And as we do so, it's like, oh, I see it, but I didn't see it before. Oh, I understand where I'm coming from, or what I need, or what is more desired here. There's a sense of looking at the waters, looking at the serenity, but also the depth. The waters go so deep that we cannot even fathom it. Emotions go so deep, we don't even fathom it. We try to find surface solutions for deep-seated problems. And during this time, we're looking at the heart. We're focusing on the heart chakra, which can give us hurts and pains and disappointments. It can make us feel like, oh, I'm not doing this right. It's like, no, I am. I am. And I'm moving towards something greater than what I was. And I'm embracing what I love more than I have before. And it starts to heal us. We start to see we hold a sacred gift. Now, to see what this battle is, it's internally very much a part of us in our inner self. But it's because we also have to defend ourselves. So show me the battle for Aquarius. Please define the battle for Aquarius. Please define the battle for Aquarius. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. And show me clearly, angels. Ooh, goodness. Okay. So we have here the Prince, the Knight of Pentacles, the Ten of Swords, the Queen of Wands, and the Page of Wands reversed. There's an inability for somebody to learn. Now, this can be with a parent-child situation or caregiver-child situation where we're trying to get the person to see things a certain way and they're just not doing it. This can also be a sense of looking at the transformation, wanting this transformation, but not having the tools right away to obtain it. It's like we don't have the fundamental skills, the base skills right now. There's a sense of slowly and steadily moving towards prosperity, but there's also a sense of this person that wants us to move in a certain direction. And us looking at it and being like, well, maybe I move in this direction, or maybe I do this. There can also be this desire to move towards financial prosperity, which, I mean, we always have. You can always, achieve more, right? But there is this sense of, am I being pushed too fast, or am I moving too slow? And how am I doing this? And where do I want to be? And, all these questions come forward. Am I moving fast enough forward? And there's a need to really look at what we're standing on, moving towards what we desire. The Ten of Swords is this hurt. The Ten of Swords is the hurt and the pain and the disappointment. The fact, and it's linked here with the Nine of Swords. That's why Spirit had me say before the Ten of Swords. It's like, this is the darkness before the dawn. This is once the nightmares have seeped in. And once we are no longer the person that we once were, we start to see it differently. We start to see the power that is around us differently. The Ten of Swords is being able to rise. It's that death, resurrection, and rebirth that is so important. It is that sense of, this is what I want, and this is what I need, and this is who I am, and this is where I'm headed. And it brings us to having more knowledge, because we have the swords, which is a wealth within us, bringing more knowledge, bringing more power to the situation. We learn when to fight and when not to, and that's going to be so important. When to embrace our passion and desire, and when to sit there and say, you know what, you guys do that. You fight. I'm not going to. Because we don't want to learn what's coming. We don't want to have to deal with that nonsense. But we're also dealing with somebody who doesn't want to learn, doesn't want to open up their mind and their eyes and see things differently. And it's very much this sense of opposition to the childlike innocence, opposition to the wonderment of the world. And there isn't going to be anything that we can do to help this person. This person's energy is over, like, I fought this battle before, so we're going to be successful. There's power that comes from it. There's justice. But we can't change who a person innately is. It just doesn't work. It moves us then to go deeper. Please define the reverse Page of Wands energy. Please define the reverse Page of Wands energy. Oh, goodness. Okay. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Spirit said, leave them, so I will. The Six of Wands, it's being able to move forward. It's being able to go after what we want, what we desire, to be successful, to be prosperous. The Six of Wands is being able to celebrate it. And here, this energy right now, we want to be able to celebrate fixing it. We want to be able to celebrate, moving forward. But this will be the anchor pulling us back. We have to say, you know what, enough is enough. You got this. You think it's that way? Go for it. Go for it. I'm celebrating me. And it moves us then to please show the nightmares. Please define the Nine of Wands, the Nine of Swords for Aquarius. Please define the Nine of Swords for Aquarius. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. It's the Five of Water, the Five of Cups. Change your mind and change your life. Change what you are focusing on. Change what's filling our thoughts, our waking hours, our restless hours, and start looking at the successes that we have. Start looking at the power that's a part of us. All right. It moves us to our spirit animal message. Aquarius, May 1st to the 15th, 2021 Aquarius. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. The wombat spirit, be at home. Be at home in yourself, be at home in your soul, be at home in what you are developing, desiring for the individual. And here, it's like, embrace your body. Embrace who you are. With all your body's quirks and all your soul's quirks and everything in between. It's like, be at home. Be at home within yourself. It moves us to our subconscious spirit animal message, which is the crow spirit. Co-create with spirit. Because spirit sees more than we ever can. Understands more than we even ever think to question. So co-create with spirit. It brings us to our subconscious chakra message. I feel like everything is having a tendency to fall right now. Which is clarity, the third eye chakra. Things are becoming more clear, or clearer. Things are opening up, and we're starting to see. And that's because our third eye is opening. It's bringing us clarity. I always see this crystal right here as looking like a human being, looking up and through the other crystal, which distorts things. But did you ever play with crystals when you were little, and get them to make rainbows on the walls? It's starting to see the rainbow. It's starting to see the beauty, the multifaceted different colors of our world. And it opens up the door. And it brings us to our subconscious person message, which is us. Aquarius, we're being told, don't get in your own way. Don't let past addictions, hurts, pains, disabilities, despairs knock you down or take over and define your life. They can knock us down. Yes, they can. But there's a sense of being able to focus on and to hear what our soul wishes for, what our heart needs. That starts to open up our world. It brings us to our subconscious message for the chaos that is around, and it's the magician. We hold the magic. We hold the prosperity. We have the king and the queen of wands coming forward. And this is a sense of creation and fire and coming together and this connection to our passion. Don't lose it. This is knowing our gifts and utilizing them. Even if we're saying, Dane, I don't have any gifts, Spirit knows we do. And so it's stepping back and it's meditating. It's focusing on that energy and on that power. It's opening up our eyes and opening up the door. And it brings us to the subconscious message for the reverse page of wands. There we go. Which is the Six of Cups. The past is coming in. Childhood hurts and pains. It can be being stuck in this child's pain, which it sounds silly to say I'm stuck in a child's pain, but that's how we live our lives. People say, "Oh, children are so resilient." It's like, okay, yeah, but all our traumas, all our coping mechanisms are formed in childhood, and we spend a lifetime trying to have healthier communication, better ways of, expressing our pain and dealing with our hurt or a sense of rejection. So here we have that coming forward. And it's like, this is my hurt, this is my pain, this is my devastation. What do I do? And it's like, well, we don't get stuck in it. We don't say, well, I'm a disability. I was mocked for this as a child. I will be mocked for this forever. That's just it. It's like, no, that's ridiculous. Or I'm a addiction. I'll never get out of this trap, of this hurt. It's like, no. Or this heartbreak, or this pain, or this disappointment. No. It's no longer living with the weight of the past being as heavy as on our shoulders, or heavier on our shoulders, because the years have passed. And it's become more real. It's become the defining factor. It moves us to our subconscious message for the Nine of Wands, the Nine of Swords. And that is the Ace of Earth. We're worried about money. We're worried about our way forward, our prosperity, our success, our bounty. This is a time where we are getting gifts from the divinity, from spirit, and it's time to utilize those gifts. It's time to open up to our world and to ourselves. It brings us to the subconscious message for this whole entire reading. Which again is the Six of Cups. The past comes forward. Now, the Six of Cups is the past when it comes to hurt, but it's also those joyous moments can come in. So we have to not be defined by the hurt, the pain, the anger, the negativity, and let in the joy, the beauty, and the open-hearted nature of children to share, to discover, to play, to laugh without reservation, and let themselves be. It's time to open up that world and to embrace it. Okay, Aquarius. Ooh, and what Spirit is saying, the art of play, that's so important. We forget that as we grow. We have responsibilities and we have to be serious. It's like, no, open yourself up to laughter and joy and beauty, and let play be a part of our lives. Make time for it. Make space for it, because it's the secret to staying young. If the only reason you do it is it's the secret to stay young, it's to have that beauty be a part of our lives, and constantly be a part of our lives. It's exquisite. Okay, all right, Aquarius. Let's end this reading with a meditation, a clearing away of negative energy, a raising of our positive energy, as we move forward in our lives to our passion, to our desire, to our hopes, and to our dreams. As we look at the past as a teacher, not as chains around our necks. All right. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Aquarius.